Hi, my name's Daryl. So if you really love camping in off-grid locations, only where your off-road vehicle can go, but really are tired of tent camping, well, this video is for you. So I'm currently pulling my A-liner camper just outside of Level Canyon. Now, of course, my Jeep can make it, and my A-liner, well, it'll make it, but if it was just a little more difficult, it probably wouldn't. So over the last month or so, I've been researching off-road trailers, and I actually got a chance to go to Overland Expo West in Flagstaff, Arizona to see them in person. But today, I'm gonna rank my favorites. So if you're in the market for an off-road trailer, I'll be discussing some of the things that you should look for. So let's get started. All right, so all the trailers that we're looking at today, they're really great trailers. However, if you want something to go wherever your off-road rig can go, you really need something with an off-road suspension as well as high quality materials and really good construction to withstand the rigors of going off-road. If all you're looking for is a relatively cheap trailer just to tow behind your Jeep, well, you could probably watch another video. Also, none of the trailers in this video, they're going to be sold at your local RV dealer, as you really have to go to an off-road specialty travel trailer dealer, or you can purchase it directly from the company. So let's talk about the requirements that I had for these off-road trailers. The first is weight. So as you probably know, Jeep Wranglers and Ford Broncos, they typically have a tow rating of 3,500 pounds. Now, I don't go by that rating, I go by the 80% rule, where I really don't want to tow anything more than 80% of that tow rating, which is about 2,800 pounds. And so I'm looking for something that has a dry weight not exceeding 2,500 pounds. So all of the trailers that we're looking at today either have a trailing arm suspension with springs and shocks or have an air suspension. The trailer needs to be constructed with materials that are going to be able to withstand the rigors of being off-road. So there's going to be a lot of jarring from the Forest Service road or trails or rock crawling. So it needs to be built with solid materials such as aluminum or fiberglass. Now my A-liner here, it's built with Asdel, which is a great material for a regular travel trailer, but it really won't cut it for being off-road. The trailer needs to have basic amenities such as an electrical system with a 12-volt battery, propane tank, as well as a water tank. So hopefully you can survive at least a week being off-grid. I wanted all my trailers to have some sort of a kitchen for preparing food. So of course you're going to have a sink with running water, you're going to have a refrigerator, you're going to have some sort of prep space, and you're also going to have some sort of stove. And finally, I wanted it to also be hard-sided. So my trailer, like I said, is Asdel, so it's got hard sides. So we're not going to have any sort of canvas or tent specifically on our trailers. Now, when doing my research, I created a spreadsheet documenting information about each of the trailers, such as their dry weight, their tongue weight, the appliances, the warranty, and whether it will fit in a standard garage. So even if you don't watch the entire video, make sure to check out the Google Sheet for your research. One last thing, before we look at our first trailer, when ranking them, I used weighted criteria in the following categories. Now, I'm going to discuss each of the categories in a little more detail later in the video, but if you are in the process of searching for a trailer, having a set of criteria to use to compare the trailers against one another is invaluable. I'll be presenting the trailers from my lowest ranking to the highest ranking, but as I mentioned, these are all great trailers and really not that much separates them. The first trailer that we're going to look at is the Australian Off-Road Sierra. This is sold by X-Grid Campers and it can be found for about $60,000 fully loaded. Now, Australian Off-Road has been making off-road campers for well over 25 years, so they really know what they're doing. If you don't know, the Australians, they really know how to make an off-road camper, as they were the originals to make this type of camper before they became more popular in the United States. And now, some US-based companies are making similar units. This is a very solidly built Raptor-lined fiberglass unit with a dual shock trailing arm suspension. It's the only trailer that's 100% dust-proof when traveling, and it has an innovative changing room with back access to extend the living space. The reed-arc electrical system with a 300 amp hour lithium battery is top in its class, and the large signed window is really amazing. The only real issue I have with the camper is their smallish bed, measuring 54 by 75, because of the side kitchen. I would really prefer a true queen size bed that's 60 by 80 inches. I was short on time at the expo, but I will include a link in this video's description for more information about this camper and one of my favorite YouTube videos. Now, in regards to pricing, I tried to keep apples to apples, so as much as possible the pricing includes similar features and capabilities. At a minimum, the campers needed to have the following items. If the camper didn't come standard with these, then I configured the camper to add them, and that's what the pricing includes. Now, as I mentioned previously, all of these are great campers, so if all you're looking for is the cheapest one, this is a list of campers ranked by price. The Escapod Topo 2 is the least expensive on my list, and this is probably the best value for the money, with a one-piece fiberglass cabin and outstanding customer service. The Pando by Off Grid Trailers can also be found for well under $50K, and this is also a really great value. Which brings us to our next trailer, the BRS Sherpa. BRS was an Australian company, but about 2 years ago they moved manufacturing to the US. X-Grid Campers, one of the largest off-grid camper dealers, recently became a dealer for BRS, but you can also purchase direct. The trailer is one of the most expensive on the list at $70K, but I think it's one of the coolest looking campers, and it's built like a tank. There really is not much to dislike about this trailer, other than the price. But other than that, the trailer really shines in almost every category. It has an amazing build quality with aluminum and fiberglass construction. It's also the first 4-season camper on our list, which will make the cabin comfortable in any season. Speaking of cabin comfort, it comes with a 61 by 80 larger than queen size mattress, and it has a padded angled back, making for a comfortable place to lounge in bad weather or in the evening. It also includes large side windows in the door, a screen door, and a stargazer window. The walls and ceiling also have a soft textured feel, which will cut down on condensation, cut down noise from the outside, and also improves the installation properties. The kitchen is well appointed, and if you look at the countertop, it's lower than most of its competitors, making it more ergonomic for meal preparation. It also comes with a custom air suspension with a Cruise Master articulating hitch and an arc jack. Now, I was short on time at the expo, but I'll include a link in this video's description for more information about this camper. Another criteria I used to rank the trailers was based on the company. The things I looked at were how long they had been in business, customer reviews, and customer service. For each of the companies, if they had a Facebook group or something similar, I spent a good amount of time in the group listening to what owners said about the trailer and about customer service. Finally, I looked at if the company was US based. Based on the above criteria, this is how the company rankings came out, with Black Bean Trailers at the top. This was primarily based on the quality of customer service and what customers said about the trailer. Customers also really loved the Expedition Voyager trailer and the Escapod Topo 2, which both had outstanding reviews in their Facebook groups. If you notice, the companies which are based outside of the United States are lowest on the list, but only because they were penalized on the ranking because they weren't US based. However, both Australian Off-Road Sierra and Kimberley Campers out of Australia are great companies who have been in business well over 30 years. Also, Off-Grid Trailers out of Canada has a great reputation, and they had great reviews from owners on their Facebook group. Keeping with the theme of Australian trailers, next on my list is the Kimberley Campers Cube. You can purchase the Cube directly through Kimberley USA for about $65,000 or from off-road specialty dealer ROA. Because they are manufactured in Australia, however, a lot of the cost of the trailer comes from shipping and also from tariff fees. But as I mentioned previously, the Australians make a really great camper. Kimberley has been manufacturing off-road trailers for well over 30 years, so you can count on the trailer lasting for generations. What makes this camper stand out above all others is the cabin comfort. It includes a king-size bed, which is a rarity in any trailer. as well as a dresser, fridge, and countertop prep space, which is nice for lounging around during the evenings or inclement weather. You also have ample storage inside the cabin, overhead, and under the bed. And speaking of comfort, just look at the side windows and the view that you get to the outside. It's built on a one-piece fiberglass shell and a hot-dipped galvanized steel chassis, making this trailer rank at the top for construction. It also comes with a custom off-road trailing arm air suspension with shocks and springs and the reputation of Kimberley Campers. If you can afford it and want the extra cabin space and comfort, it's really hard to go wrong with Kimberley Campers. For more information on the Cube, I have linked one of my favorite reviews in the video's description. Let's talk about how I ranked the suspension on these trailers. First, I looked at the type of suspension, whether it was a trailing arm suspension with shocks and springs or an air suspension. I also looked at the type of articulating hitch they were using, as well as the jack type. I then looked at the type of tires, whether they are BFG KO2s or something similar, all-terrains, and the size, 31s, 33s, and hopefully optional 35s, as well as the ground clearance to ensure that it kind of met or exceeded the Jeep, as well as the departure angle. Now, if you look at the rankings, all the trailers with air suspensions, they were at the top of my list, including Kimberley Campers, the BRS Sherpa, and the Bean Trailer's Air Cloud suspension. Speaking of Bean Trailer, the off-road black Bean is the next trailer on my list. Bean Trailers probably sells the most trailers on my list and has been in business for over a decade. It has a small dealer network, including X-Grid Campers, but they also sell their trailers direct. I priced the black Bean with the Air Cloud suspension for $53K. But if you don't have the need for extreme off-road duty, then you can downgrade the suspension to the Timbren off-road and save around $5,000. But one of the best things about this trailer is its Air Cloud trailing arm suspension with Fox shocks. It also comes with a one-piece fiberglass construction with a lifetime leak warranty and a powder-coated steel frame. This video documented a customer's experience with our support, and Bean went out of their way to inform the customer of a potential issue and even took care of it when it was out of warranty. And concerning the structural warranty, TFL actually worked with Bean Trailers to test its shell, and they rolled it and it survived with hardly a scratch. I was surprised they didn't have the black Bean trailer on display at the Overland Expo West, so I wasn't able to get a full video of it, but I will have a link to the review from another YouTuber in the description. One of the nice things about Bean Trailers is they do have a large variety of trailers, and if you don't find the need to have a rock crawling trailer and maybe don't need some of the features, the black Bean's meaner Bean starts at $30,000. When looking at off-road trailers, you really need to look closely at the construction and the materials used. These trailers are not destined for smooth freeways, but will be rolled across forest roads, trails, possibly rock crawling, and perhaps through streams. So you really want a trailer that is built with materials that won't break down with abuse. When evaluating the trailer's construction, I looked at the materials used to build the trailer. My preference was aluminum or fiberglass, and really, that's the only materials that are used in the trailers that I'm reviewing today. And when possible, a one-piece molded design and CNC cut metals. I also looked at the frame and whether it was steel or aluminum, and if it was powder coated or hot galvanized and or hot dipped. Finally, I also looked at the length of the warranty for the structure, the frame, the suspension, and the overall trailer. All of the companies that are on this list make well-constructed trailers, but at the top of my list was the Escapod Topo 2 and the Kimberley Campers Cube. Both of these have a fiberglass one-piece molded design as well as excellent warranty coverage. Which brings me to the next trailer on my list, the Pando by Off Grid Trailers, which was priced at $46,000. Off Grid Trailers is a Canadian-based company, but they do have headquarters in Colorado. They only sell through one dealer, so it's likely you're going to purchase direct. There's a lot to like about this trailer. It's one of the least expensive trailers on my list, and if you aren't into rock crawling, you could actually downgrade the suspension to the Timbren off-road suspension, which will save you about $5 grand. The construction is top-notch with CNC cut all-metal aluminum, and it has one of the better warranties of the group with a 5-year structural and lifetime roof warranty. It comes with a FabTech Motorsports trailing arm suspension with the full 8 inches of suspension travel. It also has a square back design, giving you more storage on the roof, and it also has a storage box up front and storage on top of that box. Finally, if you're looking for something even less expensive, they just released their Sprocket 3.0 model, which starts at $20K. For more information on this trailer, check out the video, which will also be linked in the description. When you're camping off-grid, you don't have easy access to power outlets, so having a good 12-volt electrical system is essential. When ranking the electrical systems, I looked at the 12-volt battery and the charging systems, which allow you to run the fridge, the lights, the furnace's blower, the fan, and other essentials. I also favored campers that included an inverter and a DC-to-DC vehicle charging system that allowed you to charge your battery when traveling between locations. Here's the rankings of the electrical systems. 4 of the campers earned an A grade, but the Expedition Voyager seems to be the most feature-rich, with a dual 150 amp-hour AGM batteries, 30 amp solar charging, DC-to-DC vehicle charging, a redarc battery management system, and an optional 2000 watt inverter. Most of the campers don't include solar panels, but depending on the configuration, you can add them to the roof or use portable panels. Now, speaking of the Expedition Voyager, it's the next trailer on my list, coming in at a price of $54,000 and sold through X-Grid Campers. Expedition Trailers is headquartered in Salt Lake City, Utah, and has been selling the Voyager for about 5 years. The owner, Artie, wanted to design an off-road trailer that was solidly built and that could accommodate larger families. When I was looking at the Facebook group comments about the trailers, I was pleased to see all the praise about the construction as well as the support given. The Voyager receives high grades in almost every category, but what truly separates it from its competition is the kitchen. When I interviewed Artie, one of the things he wanted to do was give the kitchen prep space enough room to let the whole family get involved in meal prep. A lot of folks treat cooking as one of the main events of the camping experience, and when bringing family or friends along, having the space to make it a group activity is half the fun. The kitchen also has ample storage, a dual zone fridge, dual burners, a 36-gallon water tank that's insulated, giving the whole camper 4-season capability. The camper is an all-aluminum construction with foam core insulation with a powder-coated aluminum frame. It has a full 1-year warranty with 2 years on the electrical and suspension and 5 years on the structure. It also comes with a custom trailing arm suspension and BFG KO2 tires. The only thing I don't like about the trailer is the bed is a little smaller than some of the others, measuring in at 53 by 80 inches. But this trailer does have the option of adding in a rooftop tent to increase sleeping capacity. And when you do that, they can add a portal in the roof to access the tent without ever leaving the cabin. This makes the camper really great for families. For more information on the Voyager, I interviewed the owner, Artie, where he highlighted many of the trailer's features. The video will be linked in the video's description. Now, at the end of the day, literally at the end of the day, one of the most important features of a camper is how comfortable the cabin is. Everyone needs a good night's sleep, and having a comfortable bed with heating and cooling and airflow can make or break the camping experience. When rating cabin comfort, the factors I considered included size of the bed, heating, cooling, whether the camper was 4-season capable, how quiet the cabin was, if it had screen doors, the cabin storage, as well as window coverage. At the top of the cabin comfort scale was the Escapod trailer with its 60 by 80 queen size bed, its R9 insulation making it a true 4-season camper, the quietness and comfort of the cabin with the soft textured walls and ceiling. It was followed closely by the BRS Sherpa and the Kimberley Cube. The next trailer on my list is the Sasquatch XC Highland 60. The Sasquatch is sold direct for approximately $60,000. Sasquatch is a relatively new company that has been selling their off-road trailer for about 3 years. They recently built a new manufacturing facility in New Mexico to support the increasing sales and builds of about 5 trailers each month based on the customer's requirements. The construction is all aluminum with PVC walls to help its insulative properties. The frame is powder-coated aluminum, and the suspension is a custom coil-over trailing arm suspension. It also comes with a lifetime warranty on the suspension and chassis, as well as a 2-year limited warranty for the entire trailer, making this one of the best warranties of the trailers on my list. There is a lot to like about this trailer, but a couple of things that separates this from the others on my list is the thoughtful design of the kitchen and the available storage. When I interviewed the founder, one of the points he likes to make is that the trailer was designed around the kitchen. Many off-road trailers' kitchen prep space countertops are relatively high, way above typical countertop height. Cass made it a point to have the prep space at the appropriate countertop height and then built the trailer around that. Instant hot water is available at the kitchen sink with its 36-gallon water tank. It comes with a 3-burner Furrion cooktop and an optional 65-liter Iceco fridge and freezer that sits on a lift so that you can adjust the height as necessary. Another standout feature of this trailer is its available storage. You get 70 cubic feet of countertop space, and they even have it broken down by spaces on their website. Cass really felt other off-road campers didn't offer enough storage space, so that's something that they worked really hard on in the design. The electrical system is also impressive, including a state-of-the-art Renogy battery management system, 200 amp hour Renogy battery, 1000 watt inverter, DC to DC vehicle charging, and Renogy solar charging with 200 watt panels. Lastly, the cabin is very comfortable with a 60 by 80 queen-size bed, and the camper is a true 4-season camper with good insulative properties for extending the camping season. It's got 2 large doors with large windows and includes a screen door to help bring the outside in and bring fresh air into the cabin. The only thing that I really don't like about the trailer is its price. At $60,000, it comes a little pricier than some of its competition. For more information on the Highland 60, I interviewed the founder Cass, where he highlighted many of the trailer's features. The video will be linked in this video's description. The last 2 criteria that I used in ranking the trailers was the kitchen and overall storage. Of course, when you're off-grid, you can't easily go out and get something to eat or go to a grocery store, so you need ample space to both store and prepare your food. For the kitchen criteria, I looked at the appliances, the water tank size, and the prep space. For storage, I looked at how much storage was available on the camper. In general, teardrop trailers have a little bit less storage than the squared-off flat roof design on the other campers. My top trailers in the kitchen category was the Sasquatch and the Expedition Voyager, which really prioritized the design of the kitchen space. In the storage category, once again, the Sasquatch and the Expedition Voyager came out on top. The last trailer on my list is the Escapod Topo 2 Voyager. The price is around $46,000, which is the lowest priced trailer on my list, and Escapod sells directly to the consumer with a small dealer network. If you're looking for one of the best built campers at the lowest price, this is really one you want to consider. Escapod has been selling trailers for about a decade and is headquartered just outside of Salt Lake City, Utah. They pride themselves with the goal of making the most well-constructed off-road trailers in the business. One of the standout features of the Escapod trailer is its cabin's comfort. It includes a true 60 by 80 queen-size bed and has a little extra space on the side of the bed. It calls its mudroom for taking off and storing your shoes. It also has an angled back wall for times when you want to lounge inside the cabin. This is another true 4-season camper where the water tank and lines are protected from the elements. The insulation values on the walls, floors, and ceilings is R9, keeping you protected from the cold and the heat. The walls and ceiling are covered with a soft textured material, keeping the space free of condensation and quiet, protected from the outside. It also has a beautiful stargazer window for those clear nights up in the mountains to watch the stars. The construction is a one-piece fiberglass shell with a laser-cut, hot-dipped galvanized frame. The warranty included in the Escapod has a 5-year structural warranty. For the suspension, it has a custom, shock-in free ride, off-road suspension, and a well-appointed kitchen. The only issue I have with the Escapod trailer, which is true of all the teardrop-style trailers on my list, is that they are somewhat lacking when it comes to storage because of their teardrop space. But other than that, This is a comfortable, well-built, and comparatively inexpensive off-road trailer. For an even less expensive Escapod, you could consider the Nomad, which still has the off-road suspension and the quality construction and warranty, but it's less full-featured and starts at $34,000. For more information on the Escapod Topo 2, I interviewed Troy from Escapod, where he highlighted many of the Escapod's features. This video will be linked in the description. So that's it. As I previously mentioned, you really can't go wrong with any of these off-road trailers. However, if one category is kind of more important to you than one of the others, I would recommend that you look at how I ranked each of the trailers within that category. Now, for my final rankings, if it was my money, I would go with the Escapod Topo 2. The reason why, well, first of all, it's financial. It's one of the cheapest trailers on my list. Also, it's a well-constructed trailer, it's comfortable, it has a really good company backing it, and it has a good warranty. Now, if money was no object, I would really be torn. I'd be torn between the BRS Sherpa. I mean, that's an amazing looking trailer, and it's just, you know, it's built like a brick. I would really be looking at the Sasquatch XC Highland 60, as well as the Kimberley Camper Cube. You know, the Kimberley Campers, the Australians, build a great trailer, and the fact that that has a king bed and all that cabin space, yeah, I would really like to have that. If I had a larger family, however, I would really be kind of leaning towards the Expedition Voyager. And the reason why is because you can put the tent on top of the trailer, and they have that portal that lets you get inside that tent from inside of the trailer. I think that's really a great solution. And the kitchen, with all that large prep space, I think it's perfect for a larger family. So that's it. I hope you really enjoyed this video, and hope to see you in the next one again very soon.